Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So it looks like a big game release is getting cancelled in Japan. And is Xbox looking at raising some of their prices? We have those topics and more to cover, but before we get started, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell, and we can keep you up to date with gaming news. Now let's get started. So first, it looks like the Callisto Protocol is getting cancelled in Japan. We have the headline here from VGC: Callisto Protocol cancelled in Japan after developer decides against cuts. And you can see here where they made this announcement on Twitter. Of course, this is the Japanese account, but VGC has a translation of this. We have decided to discontinue the Japanese version of the Callisto Protocol. We have determined that the game cannot pass the CERO rating as its current state, and that changing the content will not provide the experience that players expect. We would appreciate your understanding in Japan. Now, the account also did say that they would provide refunds for anybody who pre-ordered the game, and this game is supposed to come out in the US on December 2nd. And I'm not sure if Japan was supposed to get it the same day, but if it is, then it's getting cancelled just 5 weeks before its release. Now, it's pretty commonplace for violence in Japanese video games to get censored compared to the Western release, and I would have to guess that the developer submitted the game, and then when it didn't pass the board's ratings, that they just decided to cut their losses and not bother with an edit to get it released in Japan, which may not have sold a whole lot of units anyway. And I believe if you're in Japan, you would still be able to import this game, so I'd be interested to see if it has any Japanese text or audio options in the Western release. Next, we had Phil Spencer talking with Wall Street Journal Online, and he kind of hinted that there could be some price increases coming. We have a tweet here from Tom Warren that has Phil Spencer's quote. It says, "I do think at some point we'll have to raise the prices on certain things, but going into this holiday, we thought it was important to maintain the prices. We've held price on our console, we've held price on games, and our subscription. I don't think we'll be able to do that forever. I do think at some point we'll have to raise some prices on certain things." And I see his comment sort of broke down into 3 categories. You have hardware, games, and Game Pass. I think a lot of people immediately think about a price increase for the Xbox Series systems, especially since Sony increased the price of the PlayStation 5 in most regions. However, Microsoft did have their most recent Q1's earning report, and in that report, Game Pass subscription revenue was down despite the fact that subscription numbers were up. So I see this being the most obvious place to bump up prices, even if it's just $1 a month. And if you look at other subscription services like, say, Netflix, Disney Plus, and Spotify, almost all of them have had several price increases over the past few years, while Game Pass has continued to have the same price. So it seems to me the most obvious place to increase prices is in that Game Pass subscription. That's something that Microsoft could bump up $1 or so every time there's a big release getting ready to come to the service. But let me know what you think. Do you think we'll see an increase in the price of the Xbox Series systems after the Christmas shopping season? Or do you think Microsoft may be looking more at increasing the price of Game Pass and maybe individual software titles? Next, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is out today, and some people are already examining what's on the disc, and there's this Twitter account here called Does It Play that catalogs retail discs to see what needs to be downloaded in order to play the game. And their tweet here sort of speaks for itself. When analyzing the game, there's only 70 megabytes of data on the disc. They then expand to say that the download size for this game is about 100 gigabytes. So it appears that the physical media for this game is nothing more than just a license to play the game, and there's not actually any game on the disc at all. Now so far, at least at the time of recording this video, Activision hadn't issued a statement, although several outlets have requested comment. And while having a disc with just the license on it is good in the sense that it is sellable to someone else, or you can lend it to them to play, it's bad also in the sense that, say 20 years from now, if the servers go down, you have no way to play even the original release of the game. Now, until we have a statement from Activision, we can only guess as to why this would be. Perhaps they really were working up to the very last minute to get the game ready for release and did not have a playable code available at the time of pressing the discs. Personally, I think if that's the case, they should delay the release of the physical version. But hopefully we'll get a statement from Activision, and could they try to make good on this by offering a replacement disc, say 3 or 4 months from now. And finally, let's take a look at the latest Famitsu Sales coming out of Japan. Over on the software side, I'm kind of surprised here, Splatoon 3 in the #1 spot, actually beating out the premiere of Persona 5 Royal. But then at number 3 we have another new entry, Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. And then we have Gran Turismo 7, and then Dragon Quest X, Rise of the 5 Tribes Offline, and then at number 6, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, followed by Minecraft, and then Nier Automata for the Switch at number 8, and then the PS5 version of Persona 5 Royal coming in at number 9. And then the last new entry we have here, which is Dragon Quest X, all-in-one package version 1 through 6. And I think most of us know about Persona 5 Royal coming out, but I wanted to look a little bit at Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher. And this is a collaboration between Ultraman and Monster Rancher, and this is out in the US as well. And this RPG features more than 200 different kinds of kaiju, and you're supposed to be able to sort of mix them together and create new ones. And I believe since it's Ultraman and kaiju, it's done pretty well in Japan, but I haven't heard much about it here in the US, but it is available on the eShop. And now let's take a look at the hardware sales. We have the Switch OLED model in the first place, and then we have the PlayStation 5 doing pretty good in second, and then the original Switch at third, followed by the Xbox Series S, and then the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition, and then the Switch Lite all the way down at number 6. This seems to just keep getting lower. And then finally we have the Xbox Series S at number 7 with only 207 sold. And a couple of interesting notes. One, Microsoft has said that some of their strategy with the Xbox Series S is to get it into new players' hands. And this seems to be working pretty well in Japan, as the Xbox Series S is placed usually in the top 5. But then another note that in Japan, as of October 23rd, which is the end of this Famitsu sale period, the PS5 has sold over 2 million units at exactly 2,027,783. And it took 101 weeks to reach this milestone, which is just 3 weeks shy of 2 years since launch. And for comparison, the PlayStation 4 took 90 weeks to reach 2 million sales, while the PlayStation 3 did it even quicker at 73 weeks. And obviously, I believe the reason why it's taken the PlayStation 5 longer to reach 2 million units is because of the supply chain issues. And that's all we have for today. Did anything we cover catch your attention? Are you surprised to see the Callisto Protocol get cancelled in Japan rather than just getting delayed and re-edited? And assuming that it is correct that there's only 70 megs of data on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, do you think Activision owes an explanation for this? And do you think they should be required to replace the disc with a full version? Drop a comment about those topics or anything else we covered today. I want to thank you for watching, have a great weekend, and be good.